Hello and welcome back to Tungsten Tales and Darts Daily as we're here one day out from the first inaugural PDC World Masters, the revamped version of the PDC Masters, now ranked, now involving over 100 players from around the world in the preliminary rounds, but we have a draw bracket as far as it goes for the last 32 with 24 of the top PDC names involved in the opening round to be joined by 8 qualifiers, which will be decided today on the Wednesday, the 29th of January, as I'm speaking. Action kicks off at 12 o'clock midday on PDC TV with group stages initially, and then we jump into the last 64 all the way down until we have 8 qualifiers for this year's Winmau World Masters event at Milton Keynes. The qualifiers today obviously taking place in Milton Keynes as well, but we'll give you a quick run through of the draw bracket so far, minus those qualifiers, of course, which I'm recording before then. We'll also give you our predictions of who we think is going to get through each round. We'll start in the top bracket and the world number 1, Luke Humphries, as he faces Joe Cullen. Humphries' form so far in 2025 hasn't been at its sparkling best. He looks really up for the tournaments that he has been in with the Dutch Darts Masters and the Bahrain Darts Masters, but maybe not got the results he would have wanted despite the performances at times being there. Joe Cullen, he's obviously been climbing Mount Kilimanjaro over in Tanzania over the last 5 or 6 days or so. I believe he's back in the country now, so congratulations to Joe Cullen on that amazing feat. But he comes into the World Masters, I would imagine, on fairly little practice. And I will have to go for Luke Humphries, the world number 1, to win that match, progress to the second round. Elsewhere in his section, we've got Josh Rock, who would face Luke Humphries in the second round. Damon Hatter against Ross Smith, another really tough game to call. Both underwhelmed in their World Championship campaigns. I know Hatter was really keen on outdoing Luke Woodhouse in that game. He did at that 9-darter, but tailed off towards the end of that, and he won't want to do that again. So Hatter against Smith, a real 50-50 clash for me. But I am going to go with Damon Hatter to get through that opening round, and he will face the winner of Going Price, or another of the qualifiers from today. Just to round off that quarter, it'll be Humphries against Rock, in my opinion. I will go for Luke Humphries to win that. Josh Rock recently got married. Congratulations to Rocky. And then Damon Hatter against Gerwin Price. We've seen some real form from Price on the World Series so far this season. Obviously a final over in Bahrain and then a semi-final at the Dutch Darts Masters. Looks to be playing somewhere near his best again. Yeah, and I think he'll do enough to get past Damon Hatter, which will make Luke Humphries and Gerwin Price in that first quarter. Who do I think will get through that one? It's a very tough one to call, but I'll go Luke Humphries over the former. I think he'll have more good legs than bad legs and squeeze his way past Gerwin Price, though I certainly wouldn't count out the Welshman in this scenario. Go into the second quarter, and that'll be Rob Cross against a qualifier first on. So we don't know who it is. I will select Mr. Rob Cross to go through. Danny Noppert and Michael Smith. Smith really needs a big result in the coming weeks and months. He's obviously dropped out of the top 16 in the world. He's going to have to fight and claw to get back into it, and he faces Danny Noppert, and I think he will get the win there. I think there'll be huge motivation for Bully Boy, the former world champion, to get through. Stephen Bunting, the reigning champion at the World Masters, he also faces a qualifier, as does Peter Wright. So I'll predict the second round matchup between Stephen Bunting and Peter Wright. And after his success on the World Series so far, I will go for a convincing Stephen Bunting win. He was absolutely brilliant over in Bahrain, not too far behind in the Dutch Darts Masters. So Stephen Bunting to at least make the quarterfinals out in Milton Keynes. In my opinion, he will face Rob Cross, the man who defeated him in the Dutch Darts Masters final, to defeat Michael Smith in the second round. That leaves Rob Cross against Stephen Bunting in the quarterfinals. And for me, Stephen Bunting's form has been absolutely unbelievable of late, and he will be the man to get through the quarterfinals as we pop into the third section of the drawing. Luke Littler, who will face a qualifier. We'll obviously go Luke Littler on this occasion. James Wade against Mike De Decker. De Decker's got a lot to prove. He's had a lot to say over the last couple of weeks surrounding his non-inclusion in the Premier League and World Series events. James Wade, a tricky customer, especially over the sets format, and I'm going to go Wade to win that one and set up a meeting with Luke Littler in round 2. Johnny Clayton, he will face Martin Schindler in the opening round. Schindler, pretty poor in the latter stages of 2024. Started really, really well with a win on the European Tour, but tailed off towards the end. Clayton coming good a little at the World Championships, and I will go for the 7th seed, Johnny Clayton, to win that one. The final match of that section is Chris Dobey and Ryan Searle. Dobey looked great in Bahrain, not so good at the Dutch Darts Masters. Ryan Searle, a player I really like, a player that I know can produce some huge, huge performances, and I think this could be one of the seeds going in this one. I will go Ryan Searle to beat Chris Dobey in the opening round, and keep my fingers crossed that Mr. Searle is on form on that one. So that leaves Ryan Searle against Johnny Clayton. And I'm going to go Ryan Searle. I think Ryan Searle does enough to get through to the quarterfinals. He's really due a big run in a major event. Hasn't had a huge run since the Players' Championship finals. I think, 3 years ago now, dare I say. So I'm going to go Searle to make the quarterfinals, and he will face Luke Littler, who will get the win over James Wade. So just predicting that third quarterfinal, Luke Littler against Ryan Searle, and I will go for Littler. Didn't win on either of the opening World Series events, and I think he'll be out for vengeance in this one. Then got Michael van Gerwen. He will face a qualifier in his little section of the draw to face Van Gerwen, to face Dimitri Vandenberg or Gary Anderson. Who knows what Gary Anderson's been doing since that loss to Jeffrey de Graaf, but Dimitri Vandenberg showed some form at the Dutch Darts Masters, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that Gary's been in fine fettle and get through and set up that tie with Michael van Gerwen that we sorely missed at the PDC World Championship. Then see Dave Chisnall take on a qualifier. Fingers crossed for Dave that he's managed to refine some form for 2025. And he will face the winner of Nathan Aspinall and Andrew Gilding. Aspinall played some really good stuff over in Bahrain. We know he's had some injury issues and reportedly been to hospital for some of those injury issues as well. So just on that evidence alone, I don't know how fit he's going to be. I don't know how much pain he's going to be in. If he's been to hospital, you'd have to assume that he's going to be in quite a bit, so I will go Andrew Gilding to win that game against the 11th seed Nathan Aspinall. Quarterfinal, second round time, and Gary Anderson against Michael van Gerwen, purely on the evidence of they have been practicing a little. I will go Michael van Gerwen to reach the quarterfinals. We know he likes to win the first iteration of PDC events, and although this is a revamped version of the PDC Masters, I'm sure he will have the bit between his teeth to go on and do some damage in Milton Keynes. In the bottom half, Gilding versus Chisnall. Tough one to call. I think Chizzy will have found some form. He will have practiced, and he will be working very hard at his game. He won't want to drop his standards any further, despite rising in the rankings to world number 6. And I'll have him to make a surprise quarterfinal with Van Gerwen, but Van Gerwen for me will have too much in that quarterfinal for Dave Chisnall. So we'll predict those quarterfinal, those semi-final matchups now. I've got Luke Humphreys from his section of the draw to face Stephen Bunting from the second section. I will go Stephen Bunting on this occasion. Don't think I've seen enough from Luke Humphreys so far this year and at the World Championship to suggest that he's in line to win another major. This close to the World Championships, but Bunting's form has been imperious of late, and I think he's got a real chance to defend this title. So he will make the final alongside either Michael Van Gerwen or Luke Littler. And the performance from Littler have been stunning of late, if the results haven't quite been up to his high standards. So I will go Littler to meet Stephen Bunting in the final. And it's anyone's to call, really, but I think there's a huge chance here that Stephen Bunting could retain his Masters title from last year in Milton Keynes and really rubber stamp a performance in there to go forward into 2025. As I mentioned, the form really lies with Stephen Bunting on this one. So I'm going to say Stephen Bunting will retain his Masters title at Milton Keynes when the action kicks off this Thursday. Just to give you all the additional details heading into Milton Keynes, those preliminary rounds at the PDC World Masters will be the best of 3 sets. All the sets being the best of 3 legs, so possibly just 4 legs to win a set. So whoever gets through from those qualifiers, it'll be the players from the international sections, and lower down in the order of merit, they will face the numbers 25 to 56 in the last 64, with it being played down, obviously, until you have 8 winners, the last 16 being the final round. Into the main tournament, £100,000 for the winner. The first round will be the best of 5 sets, best of 7 for the second and the quarterfinals, with the semis being the best of 9 sets and the final the best of 11. You can follow along with those qualifiers over on Tungsten Tales on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and X. We'll have regular updates of who are the runners and riders, big hitters exiting the tournament, and those that do make it through later on today. If you've not followed us live on TikTok as well, we stream these darts daily, so you'll have to be able to get them sooner than anybody else. Thank you very much for watching once again. Don't forget to follow us along on YouTube once again. Hit that subscribe button and like as well to never miss an episode. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon.